Ladies and gentlemen, with a big round of applause, let's welcome on stage Mr. Ashish Gaikwad, President, Industrial Automation, Honeywell India, also the former MD at Honeywell Automation India Limited. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Trust, technology, and talent. Navigating the new frontiers. Well, it's a bit of a heavy topic, is what I thought for a Friday morning, guys. I thought it would be a nice brunch, beer, and binge would be nice. But, anyways, we are with the HR colleagues and we have to sober up. So, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. And also would like to give you a disclaimer right in the beginning. I'm no HR expert at all, but my good friend here, Ankit, he said, "आ जाओ यार तुम कर लोगे." So I think good friends always trust their other friends, and here I am standing in front of you talking about a topic that I may not be an expert on, right? So, but I do want to share with you some of my thoughts, and hopefully some of them will resonate with you. On a serious note, when I looked at the topic, and I looked at it just yesterday, to be honest, and when I thought about these three words that you have made a theme about, which is the trust, tech, and talent, to me, a few things came to my mind, and that's what I'm going to share with you. Trust, I think, is a very powerful and a very heavy word and a concept, right? And today, when you look at the business environment in which we have to operate as business leaders, it's very different, I would say. May not be good, bad, only the time will tell in future. But it is very different than maybe about 10, 15 years ago. And the reason I say that is because there used to be a word called globalization. Have you heard of it? Yes. Okay, good. Thank you. Some of you have. There used to be literally multiple conferences on this particular concept called globalization, a few years ago. And today, it appears that globalization has weakened quite a lot. You can see multiple geopolitical situations, therefore multiple geographies and countries wanting to consolidate themselves and try to look inwards for all kinds of business needs or economic needs or any other developmental needs, right? And so I see that there is a trust deficit, and I'm trying to link that to your theme because when I look at some of the global supply chains that used to exist in the past are completely changing right now. Again, I'm not saying good or bad, but certainly there is a big change which is happening as we see it. So this fractured world order certainly is projecting lack of trust. The second part of your theme, which is tech, and I think everyone's become tech savvy after we've had our stint with the smartphones, is something which is like a quicksand. Every day in the newspapers, every day in the media, you will see something or the other changing in on the tech landscape. Just a few months ago, we saw the OpenAI company, announcing ChatGPT 3, and no sooner that everybody got used to it, they announced ChatGPT 4, and now what I heard a few days ago is that they have this new version called as ChatGPT 4.0. And this is just one of the examples. There is a rampant and rapid uber digitalization in the world that we see today. And of course, all of it need not be good because as you digitalize and as you move into this software world, there is an increasing threat of cyber crimes, cyber attacks, and stuff like that. Again, tech landscape is changing quite a lot, and therefore, what we need to deal with in this new horizon is very different than what we used to deal with maybe about a decade ago. And the third part of your theme, which is talent, well, today's talent is very different than the talent that we used to imagine again when I was growing up or when I was fresh out of the college, right? Today's talent, in the industry at least that I see, is far more aware. They are far more confident. They are far more assertive about what they want, where they want to go, and how they would like to lead their life. And when I see all of that and I compare that with my years when I was growing up and trying to build my career, I don't see too many similarities, to be honest. The concept of the gig economy and the gig working just did not exist. I mean, people wanted to just get into a job and then stay in that job forever. You can look at my example. I've been with Honeywell for last 33 years now, not something which is in fashion nowadays. So what I'm saying is that when you look at the trust, tech, and talent, which existed a decade or two ago versus what we are seeing now and what we will witness in the next decade, I believe is going to be very, very, very different, right? And so a topic like this in a conference like what you are conducting today probably is relevant. Now, do I have answers? Absolutely not. I give you that disclaimer right in the beginning that I don't have the answers. But what I can do is I can possibly share with you what we are trying to do at Honeywell, the company that I know a little. And so the way we look at these three parts of the theme that you have, the first one, which is trust, that's something which is really difficult. And I don't know if we can ever say that we have mastered this, because I think there is no one thing that a management team or a CEO or a company can do to earn trust of their employees or their customers or any other stakeholders. You have to do something, and then trust is a result of that doing something. And that's how it builds. And that trust can also completely get destroyed by doing something wrong, and then it kind of vanishes. So it's the culture and the consciousness in an organization that needs to constantly build this trust. And I don't know if we have any silver bullets that we can prescribe and say this is how you build trust. But what we do in Honeywell, at Honeywell, is we try to maintain a certain what we call say-do ratio, which means that we are trained to say things that we will actually do and demonstrate, and therefore prove that what we said is what we are doing. And this is in the context of people. This is in the context of employees that I'm speaking. And the way we do that is we have a process where we try and collect the sentiments and the views of the human capital, the employees that we have. We openly publish the good, the bad, the ugly that comes out of that voice of employee, and therefore announce with the teams and at large in the organization that we learned these things from your voice. These are good things we will continue. These are not so good things we have to improve, and these are ugly things that we absolutely have to stop. And then we measure ourselves on this say-do ratio that I talked to you about. And obviously we are not the judges of that, but the employees are the judges of that. And therefore, in the next cycle of voice of employees is where you get to know whether what you did was effective or not. right? So I think that is just one of the techniques that I'm sure there are many other brilliant ideas out there and with you, but I'm just trying to share with you one of the ways in which we can try to build the trust part with the employees. And it's very important to sort of have that trust with the employees. The second part, which is obviously the tech part, that comes easy in a company like Honeywell. We have been in business for over 130 years now, right? So it's more than a century. So the company has withstood the test of time over this long period of time. There are not too many conglomerates that can speak of such a rich heritage. But the difficulty there is, if we stand still and therefore try to just make our business based on the past laurels, it will fail. Every decade or so we have to disrupt our own business, and therefore we have to build totally new technology paradigm so that we can survive the next decade and the next and the next. And that's what we have been trying to do at Honeywell. We are essentially a technology company, and we work in essentially three areas. It's a complex company, but I'm trying to simplify that. One, we work in what we call as the future of aviation. We do a lot of technology work in aviation, defense, aerospace, and that's one of the core that we do. And that generates a lot of innovation and technology. The second area that we work in is automation, and it is automation of all kinds. You see automation in industries, in buildings, in airports, in hospitals, malls, you name it. A lot of automation that is required to keep the human race more and more productive, and we contribute to that. And the third area that we work in is what is very popularly nowadays known as energy transition, which is basically trying to save our one and only planet, the Earth, from the effects of all kinds of greenhouse gases emissions and pollution and all kinds of bad things that we hear in the media. So we are trying to develop technology that will help us to move from conventional sources of energy like coal, crude oil, or natural gas to something which is totally renewable, which is sunlight and wind and other sources, right? Or even a biomass where you can take agricultural waste, which can be regrown again and again and again, and therefore convert that agricultural waste into usable energy. So all of these are very big mega trends, I would say, and that provides technology avenues for people to get attracted towards. The young millennials or the engineers or other professionals who are coming into the industry, they really are looking for a purpose. And I think at Honeywell, we are able to give them some kind of a purpose where they think their work will contribute towards something good. And therefore, I wanted to share that with you. And this is our way to use tech and therefore confluence that with the purpose, and we can therefore attract the talent. That's how we see it. And the last one, which is how do we then, having attracted that talent, how do we retain that talent, develop that talent? Again, something which is very difficult, not something that we have our arms around completely. But one of the things that we do here is we allow people to have flexibility of creating their own little startups within the company, because we are a big conglomerate. We are a $37 billion company with about 95,000 people working in 80 odd countries, and it becomes very complicated. But if you then create some kind of a structure in which people get a feel of a startup, because startups are in fashion, I think it has got its own charm, it's got its own energy, and we want to give that flavor to our employees so that they can think about innovative ideas, they can bring it to the management, they can compete on the funding, and therefore, they get a feel of a startup where some of those ideas can fructify and therefore amplify to become a big business within the company. And that's one of the ways in which we can nurture and develop talent. So again, like I said, I'm not an expert. I don't think that I have a complete solution for how to navigate the new frontiers as the topic calls for today. But I certainly am an optimist, and I believe that with conferences like this and the brainstorming and all kinds of idea sharing that you can bring throughout the day today, hopefully we will be able to learn from all of you and use those ideas to deal with all the changing landscape of the trust, tech, and talent. Thank you very much. I hope it was useful, and I really appreciate you listening to me today morning in this August forum. And I wish all of you the very best. Thank you.